Demonpact Clarice is a challenging and unique RPG Maker game with a definitive aesthetic. And no, I'm not just saying that because Goyaba put me in the game's credits and is slipping me thousands of dollars. Don't worry, I'm still poor. I genuinely believe this is a fun modern RPG that only pays a little bit of homage to the classics while still standing out enough as its own thing.
Before you go off about, oh, Matt's lazy, he used the game trailer for his intro. Okay, but seriously, I was only a part of this game on its tail end of development, and my initial experience started before all of that anyway. So, while you have a right to call me biased towards this game, the only reason I decided to work on it was because it's that great to me. Disclaimer over, okay? Okay.
Simulador de Brasil.
Starts off with a pretty normal premise of two bros hanging around and summoning a demon, only to find out, joke's on them, demons actually exist and they're fucked. So, you have to find someone else's soul to sacrifice. Don't worry too much about this plot because it doesn't really matter in the end, and the actual central conflict is just that it's a Wednesday. God, I hate Wednesdays. What you'll first notice about Demonpact Clarice is the unholy amounts of characters that you can add to your party. There are roughly 31 party members that you can have near the end of the game that all have unique movesets, stats, and personality. This means you can have tons of different efficient team comps and adds a lot to replayability. You can also challenge yourself by creating a team of unconventional characters and trying to kill God with them. All this speaks for the replayability of Demonpact. While I normally don't enjoy replaying linear games, Demonpact offers a lot of strategy and build customizability, much like Dark Souls, that makes it fun to keep replaying, along with tons of secrets and multiple endings that expand upon the story and can change your entire perspective. And the relatively short time it takes to play through, for an RPG, you can get tons of playability out of it. But I've barely scratched the surface of what this game has to offer. The many party characters are just the thin veil of saran wrap covering your bowl of sugar berries. There's many different ways you can go about encounters with status effects and random moves, along with your ultimate meter that keeps its charge between battles so you can save them for a tough fight and absolutely obliterate the weeb praying mantis. Sometimes you can even steal people's kneecaps with Robin mid-battle to repay their debts, or tactically kill your own teammates with Now. Then there's always the option to recharge from the holy bottle of Gamer Girl piss. The writing of sacrificing your friends for fun and profit is charming and not overbearing. The game walks the fine balance of being degenerative and edgy without overdoing it while simultaneously keeping its tone. Plenty dialogue options and character lines are funny and help balance out the serious underlying subjects of the plot, while the game also takes itself seriously when it has to. Each character has their own personality, and the more party members you have, the more often you'll hear them playing off each other to ensue hilarity.
I wasn't gonna. So I'm not a troglodyte like you and I have common sense. But since you mentioned it, if you don't shut your mouth, I'll shut it myself with the strap-on. Good job evading the funny thingy while still mentioning the strap-on shit. That guy's alright. Anyways, just needs a walking cane. Nowadays, just needs a walking cane, that's it. Motherfucker, you destroyed him! And you still asked for the money. What the fuck? Wouldn't you? I mean,
Wouldn't you? They were together before but broke up because I think you just heard one of the reasons. Damn. God, I wish I was the walking cane guy. Now, I could be biased here as the game matches my humor pretty well, and if you are a stupid normie ass, you'd find this game unfunny, but you could still appreciate the story the game attempts to tell and the nice moments between characters. The grungy aesthetic of the whole game permeates throughout not only its writing, but its art and music as well. You can see how much effort was put into the aesthetic of this game, as each character has full body art, and some of the visual assets of the map are even custom made. I don't know RPG Maker much, so I can't say for certain if all the assets are custom, but at least most of them seem like it to me. I have to stress how each character, no matter how minor, has full art of themselves in dialogue, and sometimes even a custom sprite in combat. There could have easily been corners cut to save time, but the extra effort sells the feel of the world even more. Further speaking for edgy Furryland's atmosphere is its soundtrack. The grimy and oppressive city vibes flow throughout Japan Wave and other city tracks. All the battle tracks pump you up for intense fights even while fighting minor enemies. Everything composing Demonpact plays well to its aesthetic and vibe, culminating into its unique feel you get from other classic RPG Maker games. But nothing accentuates this vibe more than the underlying story that quickly subverts your expectations. everything's fine until somebody dies.
Sometimes in an RPG, you end up playing as a vessel for the player rather than an actual character. Some may see this as a good thing, while I personally find it boring to recur. For example, in Final Fantasy, or at least the ones I've played, you play as a genuine character that is shaped by the events of the story. Other short RPGs may not have time for this, but they at least attempt to give the character a little bit of personality that may change throughout the course of the story. And then you have your other side of RPGs that have no personality at all, or the protagonist is completely silent. Don't get me wrong, you can have a silent protagonist that goes through a little bit of character growth or development throughout the story like Persona implies, but you can't tell me that any Pokemon protagonist or the generic 3D model with a camera on its head in nearly every open world RPG is a genuinely interesting character. Okay, where were we? Lenny, right?
What makes up for Demonpact's lack of runtime, which would leave for little story development, is a surprising amount of concise character development and expanding plot. Throughout the game, you'll end up spending a lot of time with your party relative to the game's length. I've already brought up the small quips and cut-ins from the cast during the scenes, but these are not where the development lies. There are actually multiple instances where you can see characters regretting their actions, working through conflicting thoughts, or just figuring out their place in life. This extends to even some of the antagonists you fight, and especially Lenny. Lenny is a simple, wholesome guy that just wants to be nice to people. The beauty about Demonpact's story is that Lenny can be broken in so many ways from the start of the story. Whether it's a slow burn up until the confrontation with Richard, or maybe his best friend can get shot straight out of Nerd City, many choices are presented to you with a varying consequence, but ultimately the majority of the choices you make have a real impact on the course of the story. None of this is clear until the point where Gamer Girl piss hits the fan and people start dropping. While Lenny has been himself this entire time, you are presented with the ultimate choice. To keep being bashed and oppressed, and maintain the little bit of hope you have left for good in the world, or to harness your deep burning rage and expel it onto the oppressive system you've been living under your entire life. While Demonpact displays this choice much more simply, the reality of these decisions remain the same. It's a difficult and emotional ultimatum by an edgy furry game that dramatically affects Lenny's character development. But whatever you choose now, at the end of everything, you don't have any more paths to take. Lenny has irreversibly changed into either a broken sad boy or an unforgiving monster, brought on by your actions throughout the game. Now, of course, there are other endings to Demonpact that focus their scope beyond Lenny, but every storyline does a good job at showcasing how your actions can affect the characters and world around you. The extra endings and side content go into a bunch of crazy directions and literal fourth wall breaking. The story truly gets better the further you dig into it, and the more secrets you find, the more everything intricately connects together. All of this is why you should play Demonpact Clarice. This game has the heart and soul of the RPG Maker golden days. I believe that everyone who enjoyed those games would definitely have fun with Demonpact. It's criminally underrated. You can dig through trash, and it's completely free.
Ten out of 10. More interesting than my life.
Choice.